Glad you could join us. In our first story, an Accra Circuit Court has granted CEO of Men's Gold, Nana Mensah, a 1 billion CD bail with 5 sureties, 3 to be justified. Mr. Mensah today pleaded not guilty to charges including money laundering, defrauding by false pretenses, and unlawful deposits taken. His legal team, led by Kwame Kofo, argued many customers of the gold dealership firm had received dividend twice and their investments with only their principal remaining outstanding. He added Mr. Mensah did not abscond, but rather traveled to retrieve his money in the sum of $39 million. The Men's Gold CEO has been in police custody since he arrived in the country from the United Arab Emirates on July 11, 2019. He had been in detention in the UAE since December 7, 2018, when he was arrested in that country on charges of defrauding a business partner there. Customers of the gold dealership firm thronged the courts today to pile pressure on the state to drop the charges against the accused. Here are some of them.
In the first place, we just give thanks to God. This is a step in the rightest direction. For us, the customers, we believe that Nana Mensah is not a criminal, he's not a fraudster, and he has monies of ours with him. He has to be out to be able to work. He has to be out. He has to be a free person. It's his fundamental right. Even today, people who murder have got a right to be granted bail. So it is the best thing that has been done. We are trusting God that after today, processes would begin for a payment plan to be put in place for customers to get our monies. That is why we showed up here. I mean, if somebody is innocent in a matter and he's been kept in cell all this while, he needs support. We have to show our love to him. And that is why we came all the way from Takwa to this place.
You know, today is the court hearing, so far as number one is concerned. So Coalition of Concerned Youth of Ghana President and my people, we decided to come here to actually support him because we stood in for him right from the beginning till today.
I recall I met you during one demonstration. You had made a point that Namwan should be released. He was granted bail today. Does that satisfy you as a customer looking forward to receiving your money from him?
Yeah, I'm not just a customer, but a leader of the youth, okay? I believe that no youth should be sabotaged. It has come to bear that we must relook at the way we handle issues in this country. We want the government, we advised the government from 2 years ago about his decision and appointment of that Reverend Obama Tete as the SEC boss. I said it to you last time. Now, the truth of the matter is that government should know that you can decide to treat the people the way you like. It is very easy. You can decide to undermine the people. You can live by falsehood, but the consequences that comes with those is unbearable. We want government to understand that this issue is a very serious issue. People are dying.
How
okay?
do you prefer government handles this?
Yes, of course. Right now it's been released. Now, court proceedings continues. You understand? So we are expecting government to do what it has to do. Okay? We expect government to do what has to be done. We don't want any political interference in this. We want the government to allow the judiciary to do what they have to do.
And you expect to receive the investment in terms of those who have invested. You are looking forward to getting the money back?
Most definitely, because that is why number one stated that he is not keeping anyone's money. He wants to be released so that he's going to come and schedule so that he can get his people paid.
PRO for the Coalition of Aggrieved Customers also had this to say.
By today's ruling, Naman has been granted bail with some sureties, as we are all aware. And by this, we are calling upon the government to we still stand by our request that we made on the 17th of July 2019, that they should set up the joint committee which comprise Men's Gold Management, leadership of the coalition or our representative, government and parliament. And we believe that at that committee, number one and all the Men's Gold Management members and the directors will be there to show us where our investments are, what is the amount in his account or Men's Gold accounts, the value of the total asset. And we believe that when that conversation go on, we'll be able to come up with the payment plan that will lead to the final payment of the customers. And by this, we are also saying that government should assist Nana Mensah and Men's Gold Management to retrieve the money from Dubai, then any other place that Men's Gold has money. Because at the end of the day, all this money is going to inure to the benefit of the customers. So government, having the state apparatus, should be able to assist Men's Gold and its management to retrieve all those monies. Then we are also saying that for now, it's our opinion that government suspend the criminal prosecution and rather concentrate on how payments can be made to the customers. Because like we said in our press statement, if the government is for the people and the government is by the people, this is the time that you should stand by the people by heeding to our request for the setting up of the joint committee and the suspension of the criminal prosecution. So this is our plea this morning, and we are most grateful for the media for being on our side.
Now, PRO for Men's Gold, Ni Ama Amatefio, says they are happy about the bail and will now work on retrieving the $39 million from business associates in the UAE.
I mean, since this issue started, we remain focused, and we made commitment to our customers, definitely we'll pay them their principal. And today, your court raising the same issue. The reason why CEO no called Dubai was to go and change that $39 million. And God being so good, no called Dubai or the Kunim, and the court has ordered, Horizon people should pay the $39 million. So what it means is that immediately that money hits the account, the promise we've made to our customers, we will fulfill it to the latter. So this bill, is the first step. Say best solve that problem now. What it means that now, the boss then we'll put together structures, put together plans how we can pay our customers back. So very soon, the payment structure or the payment plan will definitely come out, and then we'll start paying our customers. We are waiting for the execution of that judgment, so we can't give timelines for now. And last time, Mekacha said that particular ruling, I haven't gotten the copy yet because of there are a lot of things until we haven't really bet our mind to the ruling. But it's a bill. We are going back again, sit down with the Dubai lawyers as well, look at the execution of the judgment. When we can get those the $39 million, and then we can be in a position to say that payment will start next week or that week.
On that story, Chairman of the Public Interest and Accountability Committee, PIAC, is warning of an imminent collapse in government's flagship free senior high school policy due to the changing dynamics within the petroleum sector. Addressing a gathering of chiefs and people of Techiman in the Bono East region, Dr. Steve Mantiao indicated that an amount of 414.62 million Ghana cedis, representing 98.75% of the annual budget's funding amounts disbursements to the education priority, was used in funding the free SHS program in 2018. This, according to him, could be problematic should there be a drop in prices of crude on the international market. There's more in the following report by Anas Sabit.
Ghana's Public Interest and Accountability Committee, the statutory body mandated to monitor and ensure efficient management of petroleum revenue, has called for alternative means of funding government's flagship free senior high school policy. In the year 2018, the physical infrastructure and service delivery in education priority area received an amount of 419.87 million Ghana cedis, representing 51% of the total annual budget funding amount.
As much as 51% of the petroleum revenues went into the education sector. Out of this, as much as 98.75% of this amount allocated to the education sector was spent on free SHS, with only 1.25% being spent on infrastructure. And this is what we think portends danger for the education of our children.
At a regional public forum on the management of Ghana's petroleum revenues held in Techiman in the Bono East region, Chairman of the committee, Dr. Steve Mantiao, cautioned that government's over-reliance on the petroleum revenue in funding the free senior high school could be suicidal, especially when the prices of crude on the international market is not fixed.
We are only advising that to ensure the sustainability of the free SHS, we will need to, as a country, meet and consider ways of diluting the sources of funding with other sources.
He also advised that as an alternative way of funding the free senior high school policy, government should consider engaging corporate agencies by entreating them to support education as part of their corporate social responsibilities.
We need to look at other sources. Gold revenue can complement. We also believe that perhaps we can create a special pool of funds that brings together the 2.5% of VAT that actually accrues to the Ghana Education Trust Fund. We're also encouraging government to consider negotiating, engaging corporate entities.
Chairman of the function and Bamuhini of the Techiman Traditional Council, Nana Apentin-Fosu Jiabo II, commended the committee for embarking on such an engaging encounter. Reporting for Joy News, Anas Sabit, Techiman.
Back to Accra, and Parliament has summoned the Interior Minister to the House next week to answer an urgent question on what is being done to deal with incidents of kidnapping of young women in the Western region and other parts of the country. His invitation follows the recent wave of kidnappings in the country, causing anxiety among some foreign nationals and citizens in the country. The question was filed by Ranking Member on the Defense and Interior Committee, James Agalga. Mr. Agalga joins us on the line. Good afternoon, sir. Thanks for joining us. So the girls were kidnapped as late as December 2018. That was the last time the Takoradi girls was kidnapped. What has prompted this move at this time?
Well, I felt obliged to file the urgent question to get the Minister for the Interior to speak to the nation directly on the issue of the kidnapping of the girls through Parliament. The reason is that notwithstanding government's assurance that they knew the whereabouts of the girls and that in no time they were going to be rescued, I mean, the clock keeps ticking, and yet the girls have not been found. And so I at some point felt that there was need for the government to be held to account the people of this country, with regards to the whereabouts of the girls. I mean, in a manner that is very binding, and so I decided to direct this question at the political leadership. We have seen the CID Director General speak to the Ghanaians and the assurances that came from her, which have not materialized. So I for one, felt that, look, it was time for us to hold the minister before Parliament. We have had the behind-the-scenes discussion, but I thought that wasn't enough. The minister needed to appear before the plenary and to respond to the issue of the kidnapping and to outline the measures that they have put in place to forestall the occurrence of further kidnapping in our country.
Now, the president spoke twice this week on this issue. He has assured the families of the 3 missing girls that authorities are hard at work on the matter. Your reaction?
Yes, we've had those assurances in the past, and nothing good came out of the assurances. And so I want somebody to speak before the plenary. And you know, when you speak before the plenary, if you deliberately mislead the House, the People's Assembly, you could be cited for contempt. That is why I felt obliged to file that question and direct it at the Minister for the Interior. At least if he appears before the plenary and answers those questions, they would understand that we are very serious about the issue of kidnapping in our country. And he cannot afford to mislead the good people of Ghana when he's speaking before the August House, the National Assembly. So once you are someone to appear before the House, you understand how serious the matter is. And so we would expect the minister to be very forthright with us and also to outline the measures this government has put in place. Because remember that crime rates are on the ascendancy in this country. The general crime situation is not good. We need them to speak to the people of this country what they have done to deal with the security situation in general, including the kidnapping of the girls. Look, a few days ago, the Deputy Minister for Education was attacked by armed robbers on the Tamale-Kumasi Highway. This is a very senior government official. That is how serious the situation has become. And so we expect the Minister for the Interior to tell us what they have done and what they are doing to protect the people of this country, including our women and girls.
Which day is he expected to appear before the House?
Yes, he's been programmed to appear on Tuesday. That is the 30th of this month.
Right. Thank you very much, James Agalga, for joining us. He is
my pleasure.
The ranking member for the Defence and Interior Committee of Parliament. Away from that story, the British High Commission in Ghana says it is waiting keenly for the outcome of investigations into the murder of Tiger Eye PI's Ahmed Hussein Swale, insisting that the outcome is of great interest to the UK government. Ahmed Swale was shot thrice by unknown assailants at Medina on his way home, and almost 6 months on, it is unclear what the status of the investigation is. Speaking to Ijolai as part of the Media Freedom Campaign, Head of Public Affairs Anup Vyas says the murder and other attacks on journalists are a source of great concern. He urged state actors not to see journalists as adversaries, but as partners.
I think journalism around the world is having a hard time. I think the role of a journalist is to speak truth to power. They are there to uncover what is in the public interest. Now, what they uncover may not be what those that hold the keys to power potentially like, but nonetheless, it's important that they deliver the message and actually inform the public, because there is a right to know about what's going on in the state of the world around them. And journalists are often the first to find out what's happening, and part of the checks and balances on the state, and it's a facet of a modern democracy.
Is there any of the incidents that happen in Ghana that readily jumps at you when it comes to attacks on journalists?
Well, every attack against a journalist is abhorrent and is something that needs to be taken into consideration when Ghana looks at its broader international narrative as an open, friendly country that respects human rights and is tolerant and freedom of speech. So every attack does diminish that in some way. Obviously, we have been talking today about the murder of Ahmed Hussein Swale. That has been something that shocked the international community. I know when the Foreign Secretary was here, he spoke to Tiger Eye, to Anas in particular, to convey the condolences on behalf of the UK government. We are looking to see what happens next. This poor young man was taken. There was clear signs that it was a murder and should be considered in those terms. And we're looking to see what happens in terms of.
The campaign is on, and news editor at GH1 Nana Banamwa is asking media houses to come together as one in this fight.
I think that it's getting uninteresting. I mean, I meet young people who want to be in the media and they say that, oh, I could be beaten up. Why should a young person in the 21st century, when there is so much media freedom across the world, be petrified, and I like the word you used, to join the media because of a fear of being brutalized? So I think that we need to do better. I think media houses should come together, because what I see right now is one media house doing this campaign, another media house doing that campaign, and when another media house thinks that it is time to wage the flag, on media freedom, because another station has started, they think, oh, that is theirs, let's leave it. It breaks our front. And so the media must come together as one. If a reporter at Joy FM is brutalized Every journalist in this country must be concerned. Every journalist in this country must be worried. You don't get excited or keep quiet because it is Joy FM and not your station. So I think that we are in, I wouldn't use the word turbulent, but we are not in a very safe period at the moment as journalists, because you go out and even when you are wearing a tag, when you are really identified, you are still getting brutalized or verbally assaulted by people, and I think it is unhealthy.
You're live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Darcy. Just going by in the bulletin, Nana Mensah, CEO of Men's Gold, has been granted a 1 billion Ghana cedi bail, and the case has been adjourned to the 12th of the next month. Now, of course, coming up in the bulletin, CDD Ghana has carried out a survey asking Ghanaians what informs their choice of members of parliament. Stay with us. Welcome back. And heads of schools in some parts of Accra have expressed concern about the potential health risks pupils are exposed to from using old and dilapidated toilet facilities in their schools. They are appealing to government to help construct new facilities to prevent the outbreak of diseases. The school heads made the call when officials of the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Gamma Sanitation and Water Projects Team and Lankwantanan Municipal Assembly, LANMA, inspected toilet facilities in some schools on Thursday. Here's Beryl Richter Anderson's report read to you.
The over 300 students of WAS Experimental 1 and 2 JHS and their teachers on a daily basis have to endure the foul smell which wafts through the air from an old KVIP toilet facility on the school's compound. The pungent smell from the toilet facility poses a great health risk to students. This is because food vendors for the school are not too far from the facility. Headmaster of the school, Samuel Kolbila, told the media that even though there is a new toilet facility constructed for the school by Gamma, students are forced to use the old facility because of their large population.
That was what we were using. But that old toilet, we are saying that they should break it down. But because they've not broken it down yet, we are making somebody to take care of it so that the place can be cleaned. But it is beyond us. We don't have the resources to do that, to break it down. We don't even have the capacity. It's still in use, even though we are doing our best, trying to clean it. She cleans it always. But if we were to have the power, we would have broken it down.
At the Queen of Peace Catholic School, the toilet facilities were clean, but locks and the sinks were broken. The head teacher, Rhoda Dambila, blamed poor maintenance of the toilet facility on parents refusing to pay 5 cedis levy to maintain the place. She also stated the facility cannot meet the needs of the over 1,000 pupils of the school.
At times, when they are on break, it's like rush hour. They are pulling here and there. And if there's no one to supervise what goes on there, that's where you see these breakages here and there. Even some time ago, the dressing mirrors that we have fixed there were all down. The parents are asked to pay 5 cedis a term. And the 5 cedis a term is not enough. We're considering a lot of things. So as I'm talking, it's like we are not getting enough money to pay 2 janitors. So we have taken one for the meantime.
Headmistress of SDA Basic School also complained about parents' refusal to pay the levy for maintenance of the facility.
The problem is the parents that are paying for those workers, because you don't want the children to go and work on there. So we have workers that are working. They don't come with tea room. We are providing everything. So they have to pay, and then we get money to do all these things. But the payment is very, very slow.
The team's last stop was at Abokobi Presby 1 Basic School. Headmaster of the school, Sian Kwachi, says the new toilet facility constructed by Gamma has provided a great relief for pupils ending open defecation that used to be prevalent.
It's not too bad. We are managing it. At least it's better than nothing. We used to have nothing, and with this, I think is better. Now, open defecation, I would say, has been eliminated.
At the end of the inspection, patron of Media Coalition Against Open Defecation, Dr. Doris Yate, expressed worry over the state of the toilet facilities in the schools visited. According to her, the state of the barely year-old facilities in some of the schools leaves much to be desired.
So far, we haven't been very satisfied with the maintenance. We've witnessed 1 year old, 6 months old latrines which are not being well kept. We've also seen some new toilets, commodes already broken down in a matter of 6 months to a year. So I've been wondering as we've gone round, what will be the state of these toilet facilities, these newly constructed toilet facilities, almost state-of-the-art facilities, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, oh Lord, 5 years from now.
The development objective of the Greater Accra Metropolitan Area Gamma Sanitation and Water Project for Ghana is to increase access to improved sanitation and improved water supply in the Gamma, with emphasis on low-income communities, and to strengthen management of environmental sanitation in the Gamma.
Still live on Joy News today. Now, many citizens prefer parliamentary candidates who provide local public goods than MPs who stay in parliament for legislative duties. This was contained in a research finding by the Center for Democratic Development, CDD, which revealed the constituents would rather have their elected representatives closer to them in the constituencies to engender development locally. Evans Isiamwa Mensah was at the event and comes through with this report.
The study, conducted between November and December 2018, sampled over 2,000 citizens across 12 nationally representative constituencies. It considered how important factors such as the presence of MPs in their constituencies are to the people, provision of public goods such as water, toilet and health centers, attending social events are, as compared to MPs performing their legislative duties in Parliament. Research associate at the Center for Democratic Development, George Ofosu, revealed that majority of the population sampled said they want their MPs to have regular community engagement with them.
People. And this research is trying to figure out which of these dimensions or which of these things that MPs do matters the most to people. And I think the finding seems to suggest that a lot of people in general seems to want their MPs to provide local public infrastructure such as roads, hospitals, and so on, other than providing personal financial assistance such as school fees, paying their medical bills, and so on and so forth. But equally important to citizens has to do with the idea of listening and representing their views in Parliament, right? And so just listening, organizing meetings to listen, report back what happens in Parliament to citizens is very important to citizens. So,
on the matter of MPs attending social events in the constituency, the respondents were of the view their representatives serve the communities better that way, rather than being distant in the capital, attending to parliamentary duties.
This is the distribution of the things that they said. Again, projects, development projects come out big time. Whether the person was their co-partisan, so whether they belong to the same party also came up. Personal assistance. Just a good person. The person is just good. So I will vote for the person. They know my problem, right? That's it. But regular in Parliament is way down here. Checks on the executive branch is way down here. Nobody mentions that.
MP for North Tongue Samuel Okujato Ablakwa described the research findings as both fascinating and worrying.
I think that it made for a very interesting review. It is clear that the researchers are pointing out to a very sophisticated electorate, especially findings like gender no longer being a role. So those who held the notion earlier that our constituencies are largely conservative and that women, they may not be more willing to vote for women and all of that, that notion appears to have been dispelled. So I'm fascinated about that. I'm also fascinated in the fact that meetings can play a very key role in selecting a member of parliament, just engaging in community meetings. So the people expect that you come and engage communities, explain issues as the way to go. And I think that is positive, and it is also commendable. What I also found quite fascinating about the report is the fact that members of parliament appear to be skewing their support for their supporters. And I think that is worrying, and it's important for members of parliament's attention to be drawn to this, so that, because remember, when you become a member of parliament, it's important to note that you are now serving the entire constituency. You are not an MP for only your supporters. So I thought that aspect of the finding was worrying.
Still live on Joy News today with me, Daniel Daze. Coming up in business, Ghana's exports volumes to the Caribbean island of Barbados to witness a boost. Emmanuel Abuajiri has more.